What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be doing something a little bit different and something that I've been wanting to do more of here on the channel. I usually love touching on movies that have narratives and have filmmaking tactics that I can touch on, thematic elements, performances, whatever the case may be. But in today's video we're actually going to be touching on some new documentaries, most notably nature documentaries coming from Disneynature. The kind folks over at Disney sent me over 2 screeners for 2 companion piece movies that are actually hitting Disney Plus right now as of this review dropping. The embargo for this review lifts just as those 2 movies are hitting Disney Plus. So without further ado, let's get into the first one of those 2, and it's simply titled Tiger. Directed by Mark Linfield, Vanessa Berlowitz, and Rob Sullivan, Tiger is narrated by Priyanka Chopra Jonas and follows a young tigress raising her cubs. So going into this, I didn't really know fully what this nature documentary was going to be all about, outside of it being about tigers, of course. But I'm happy to say that it was just a good time. It'd been a while since I'd sat down and watched a nature documentary, and sometimes it's nice to sit down and watch one of these and just be reminded of the beauty that nature is. You know, it's so easy to kind of forget and get lost in the day-to-day of working and, you know, being in a city and dealing with people and going to your job and watching movies about, you know, space aliens killing each other and stuff. But it's nice to just watch a documentary where you just have a nice narrator over it, kind of following the life of some animals and showing us just the beauty of nature. And one thing that's always incredible with almost any nature documentary, and definitely when it comes to Disney or National Geographic, which I believe Disney owns as well, is the cinematography and the camera quality and the way they're able to get these beautiful up close shots of these animals and just show us things that we here at home would just never be able to see naturally. You know, you can go to a zoo, you're never going to be able to see the shots that these things are able to capture and just how beautifully crisp they look. And so the base gist of this nature documentary, Tiger, it follows a young tigress named Ambar who is raising her cubs. And throughout the course of the film, because she is no longer with the male mate that was the father to these cubs, she has to protect them not only from other male tigers who want to threaten their livelihood, specifically her sons, but also some of the other animals that become threats throughout the course of time. And throughout the course of this documentary, we kind of see that cycle of life that happens with tigers, where she raises her cubs. Maybe some of them make it, maybe some of them don't. And as they get old enough, she kind of has to push them away for them to go on and build their own life, have their own cubs, and the cycle continues. And I found it to just be a beautiful, good time to watch. I think it's so incredible sometimes to just see how smart these animals are. And one thing I've never really touched on here on the channel is my love for animals. When I was a young kid, I used to have so many books and cards and all these different animal related things. I've always enjoyed going to any sort of conservation thing or any sort of zoo or just to see animals. I love animals. It's something that I've always been super passionate about. So big cats have always been one of my favorite animal types of all time, with tigers definitely being near the top. And so being able to just see how intelligent these animals are in this nature documentary and just be kind of reminded of it was just so awesome to see. There are so many moments where the cubs know to hide because there's a threat, that the mother is able to alert them through small little nuances in the way that they communicate. And the mother was able to maybe spray a wall with her pee to kind of fend off kind of specific animals, or even having the ability to know that there's a male tiger in the area and distract said tiger while her cubs are in hiding and push that male tiger away in a different direction, or go with him in a different direction to eventually then leave him and come back to her cubs. It's just so incredible how intelligent these animals are, the way that they communicate in small nuanced ways, and just being able to watch this play out and kind of see the livelihood of these tigers over the course of years is incredible. They mention it throughout the course of these documentaries, but it took about 1,500 days to get all the footage they needed to be able to play out this movie. And so throughout the course of it, you see these young cubs go from these small adorable cats to full-blown tigers that are going off now to start their own life and have their own cubs. And I just thought it was really beautiful to see. And throughout the course of the documentary, you also get to see some of the livelihood of some other animals like sloth bears and fireflies and even some frogs. They give us a little bit of information on those animals that are around the tigers in India. And just overall, just a beautiful documentary. The cinematography was fantastic. Being able to learn more about these animals is also incredible. It's very cute at times, and there's plenty of moments, thanks to the narration by Priyanka Jonas, that are very funny. There's some great moments in here where the tigers just can't help but make you laugh, just because of how silly they can be, and the fact that you're kind of getting this candid camera approach of them doing fun and kind of cute things with one another. You know, I've always been a big fan of cats, so big cats have this element, even though they're super dangerous, to be super cute with one another, the way that they play with each other, the way they play with things around them. They still have those same kind of curiosities that your basic house cat would have. So being able to see some of these cute candid camera moments with these cats was great. And again, just the camera quality that they're able to capture in these and how close they're able to get is just so phenomenal. And if you get to watch this on a 4K TV, you're just gonna be mind blown by how beautifully crisp this looks, which if you do watch nature documentaries in this day and age will probably not surprise you because they all look fucking amazing these days. And now let's touch on the companion piece. This is probably going to be the shorter part of the review, but there's a companion piece to this that's also dropping called Tigers on the Rise, which is directed by Rob Sullivan and Alastair Tones, and this time around is narrated by Blair Underwood. And this one is pretty straightforward. It gives us the behind the scenes of the making of Tiger and showcases how the film crew actually worked around getting certain shots, where they were setting up cameras, some of the safety protocols they kind of had to lean into, but also shows us a behind the scenes on different tiger conservation that's going on in India and the various things that they end up doing so that humans and tigers can coexist. They also touch on the fact that tiger populations have been rising in India, and so because of that there is a bigger danger to humans, but there's also this more passionate love to actually help continue to grow the population of tigers. So there's tons of things that the government over there and various conservation groups have done to help make the lives of tigers better, as well as helping to create a very easy way of life between the humans and tigers, where you can have a tiger like knowingly in the area, but it isn't really going to be a massive threat to humans. But it also touches on some of the threats that tigers have been to humans in India in certain areas, and the way that Indian officials end up actually dealing with kind of relocating that tiger and giving them a new home so that they can continue on their life and so they can continue on breeding and moving on the tiger species while not having to necessarily treat it like, oh, there's a monster in the area, let's kill it. You know, I love the fact that there's a lot of respect for tigers in India, and I learned a lot about that through this Disneynature documentary. It was great to see a lot of the passionate individuals who love tigers and want to be able to find a way for them to continue to coexist with humans in India and rise their numbers of population. I thought that was awesome to see. It also, again, gives us more details on how they went about filming the tiger movie that I was just touching on. And I just think overall, it's a great companion piece. If you watch the two, it's about maybe around 3 hours if you were to watch the two all together. And I genuinely just was never bored watching the two of them. I thought it was really informative and just really well done. Again, both of them are utilizing great camera quality, so there's some great, really close-up shots of tigers and stuff that you don't see in the first movie that you see in this one. And it's accompanied by that great narration by Blair Underwood. Really loved being able to see the behind the scenes of how things were done, being able to see the conservation side of things, getting to see how the vets work with tigers in different situations, how they relocate tigers that may be a problem tiger, but also end up giving those tigers a good life. When they have to capture a tiger in this movie at a certain point, I was worried that they were going to just kind of put him in a cage and that was it, or put him in a small zoo where he's going to live a sad life, but they end up relocating him to a big plot of land where they can actually, you know, control where he's going and make sure that he's not a problem for humans, but that he can also live on acres of land and, you know, still feel comfortable as a tiger, which was beautiful to see. There's a lot of work happening in India clearly to consistently move along the tiger species, and I just loved seeing that. And so honestly, that's my thoughts on Tiger and the Tigers on the Rise. I thought these were two great companion piece documentaries that are hitting Disney Plus. Highly recommend them. If you haven't heard of them, like I said, as of this review dropping, they're already on Disney Plus. If you have about 3 hours or even just an hour and 45 and an hour and 17 to just kind of sit back and enjoy these over the course of time, I genuinely think they're a good time. I think if you're a fan of nature documentaries and you've been itching for a new one, then definitely go and check out Tiger. Again, a big thanks to the kind folks over at Disney for sending me over an early screener for this one, and I'll see you beautiful people in the next one. Bye-bye.